following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Sumner County Sports Show. Joining us, as always, behind the scenes is our good producer, Justin Kulik. I, of course, am your host, Zach Womble, today, and we have got a lot to get into for this episode. But before we do that, just want to say thank you to the fans who tune in each and every week. You make this show possible, and we've got some big news coming up in the future as far as sponsorship is concerned, so we're excited to unleash that information as well. So just a couple weeks out until we finally get that ball rolling. So if you're checking us out on YouTube, we really appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribing wherever you're listening, whether that be Apple, Google, Spotify. We're everywhere, so we would appreciate your like, comment, and subscription as well. Three big things this week, jumping right into the show. There's a lot going on right now, and we can start on the pitch with soccer. We had 4 teams playing in the region semifinals last night on Tuesday with their respective opponents. Station Camp beat Overton 7-0. Gallatin went on the road and beat Cane Ridge 9-0. Merrill Hyde disposed of Watertown 10-0. And Liberty Creek dropped their first ever region semifinal appearance on the road at Valor College Prep. So 3 teams here in Sumner County moving on to Thursday night's region championship date, as well as moving on to the sectional round, what I call sectional Saturday this week. So whether you win or lose on Thursday, you are guaranteed a sectional game. And, of course, that means you're one game away, one win away from making it to the state tournament. So a very exciting part of the year here as we get ready to close down the high school girls soccer season, but plenty of teams still alive with a chance to punch their ticket to the state tournament. You know, I was able to see Station Camp in Overton last night because it was here in the county. Freshman Mallory Springs had a hat trick, 3 goals. Briley Hitt, Riley Lombardi, Caitlin Preston, Aiden Wood. They all chipped in 1 goal apiece. But, you know, Mallory Springs had 5 goals going into that region semifinal in just 2 games. So she adds 3 more to her total, 8 in 3 games. And Jeremy Cook just obviously raved on and on about his freshman just turning 14 years old and able to do this with against seasoned vets is something, special to see. And so having her at the top is kind of allowed Station Camp to really, their offense to kind of flow. They share the ball really well. And, they haven't had Emory Springs this entire postseason, the district tournament regular season, the district regular season MVP. And it doesn't look like Station Camp has missed a beat. So they're going to be tested once again against Gallatin on Thursday in the region championship. These 2 teams have already played twice this season. They share a city, they share a rivalry. So Thursday should be a lot of fun. Station Camp has beaten Gallatin both times. Station Camp won 3-1 in the regular season, but Gallatin had 2 own goals in that game. And then Station Camp responded with a 2-0 win in the district tournament championship. Didn't get their second goal until the second half, but Gallatin, ton of chances in that game as well. So it should be a really interesting, should be a really fun matchup on Thursday. Not sure who's going to win, but I do know whoever they face in the sectional round, they've got to face the winner of Nolensville and Centennial. Nolensville and Independence. I apologize. Nolensville and Independence on Saturday. Of course, whoever wins loses that game, travel or host, vice versa. So those 4 teams will come out of the sectional round, play each other. 2 of them will punch their ticket to the state tournament. So, like I said just a minute ago, very exciting times ahead for girls soccer here in Sumner County. And don't want to leave out the goal scorers for Gallatin in their 9-0 win over Cane Ridge. Kalista Rich had 4 goals. Aubrey Bolenberg, Olivia Strong, Ava Hessen, Hannah Dyer, Belle Butler. They all had 1 goal apiece. So Gallatin clicking on all cylinders at the right time. And then staying here in Sumner County, moving on to Merrill Hyde. Listen, Class A, just really kind of no competition for Merrill Hyde up until this point. 10-0 winner over Watertown in the region semifinals. They're going to host Smith County Thursday night in the region championship. And honestly, it could be much of the same thing. In this Class A bracket, there's really about 4 teams that compete for a state title, Merrill Hyde being one of them. 2 others in the eastern part of the state being Alcoa and Signal Mountain, and then, somebody from the west. But right now, Merrill Hyde doing what they're supposed to do, ending matches in 40 minutes, getting girls in that need some valuable playing time, getting girls rest that need it. But Mary McElwain had 3 goals in that game. Sydney Areza had 3 goals. Gianna Cruz had 3 goals. Liza Doyle had a goal. Jalen Baxter had 3 assists. I know Sydney Areza had an assist. So they're, like I said, they're going to move on to Thursday's game against Smith County, and then on Saturday against maybe like a Cascade, someone from that area. I haven't particularly checked, if I'm being honest with you. But I don't think it's going to matter. Merrill Hyde just kind of rolling at this point. Think they're going to get into the state tournament and really give back-to-back a run for its money. So that's what we got going on the pitch as well. So looking also at our football slate this week, it is jam-packed. It is loaded. I think it's probably highlighted by Beach and Brentwood. I know My TV 30, Friday Night Rivals, is coming to Shackle Island. It's a top 15 matchup according to our Main Street Preps top 25. And so, you can check out mainstreetpreps.com to see who I've got winning that game, as well as all of our county games. But I think that highlights our county slate this week. You've also got a top 10 matchup in Pope Prep versus Ravenwood. Of course, missing marquee quarterbacks in Kenny Minchie and Chris Parson, but still, nevertheless, should be a really good football game between those two. Springfield and Portland, a huge region contest. I think Springfield's going to win that game, but you just never know how that one's going to shake out. So another good one to look forward to. And then Gallatin, Lebanon. I think Lebanon is going to take it pretty easily. But listen, these are two rivals that date back a long time, so you just never know what's going to happen in that contest. And so really looking forward to Friday Night Lights. This week we'll have your coverage on mainstreetpreps.com, of course on Friday Night Live, which we'll get into that a little bit later. But moving on to our third and final big thing this week, we've got Jamison Wharton. He is hosting his annual Pull the Flag on Cancer fundraiser. You can see it right there. It's not until October 30th, which is a Sunday, and it's going to be held at Drakes Creek Park, which is the soccer field all the way at the back of the park. So when you're going in, most people know where it is, but just drive to the end of the park. If you haven't seen it, you haven't gone far enough. The soccer field is right down there. It costs just $5, and 100% of the proceeds go to Jamison's charity cause to help pull the flag on cancer, breast cancer awareness. This was a charity that he started, I guess, about 10 years ago at this point, maybe a little bit longer. I was able to catch up with Jamison the last couple of years while he was in high school at Hendersonville to tell his story about how it kind of originated and things of that nature. And it's still on mainstreetpreps.com. You can check that out. And just a really good kid, really good head on his shoulder. Jamison now at Vanderbilt University playing for the Commodores as a defensive back. And so he's not traveling with the Commodores this season, so he's able to be in town that October 30th to host that event. And, last year he was able to raise close to $5,000. He's raised over $10,000 in total for this charity. Like I said, 100% of the proceeds go to breast cancer awareness. And then the TSSAA last year decided to step in and tell them they couldn't play flag football anymore because it was a competition and it went against TSSAA rules. So this year they moved it back toward the end of the season to allow high school athletes to play. And if there's a problem, they'll play kickball as well. But it's for ages 6 and up, and just a really great opportunity for you to come out, fellowship with people, enjoy good music. I know Kona Ice will be there for a little tasty treat. They'll have a DJ, professional photographer will be out there. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you've got nothing going on Sunday, October 30th, please come on out to Drakes Creek Park, the soccer field, to support Jamison in this cause. 100% of the proceeds go to breast cancer awareness. It's a lot of fun. And even if you do got something going on, you can push that to the side. You can spare a little bit of time in the afternoon just to come out, show support, show love for one of Sumner County's own. And like I said, a current Vanderbilt Commodore giving his all for the boys on West End. And so a great opportunity for you to come out and support. We are going to jump into a quick break, but when we do, we are going to interview Pope Prep head coach Brain Sneed amid his team's big game this Friday against Ravenwood. So don't go anywhere.
So, I got a DUI. Mom, Dad.
Why didn't you just call someone for a ride?
I wasn't thinking ahead. I didn't think I was gonna get caught. Yeah, my best friend Tim.
Still coming to my bachelor party next month?
This DUI cost me 10 grand. So, no. Yeah, you, in the back.
Did you know I almost died when you hit me?
I didn't think this would affect so many people.
You think it was worth it?
No more questions.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
And we are back just like that. As I told you before the break, we were going to welcome in Pope Prep head coach Brain Sneed. We were able to catch up with Coach Sneed earlier today, so we really appreciate him jumping in. Listen, the Knights 6-2 on the season. They've got a huge game this Friday night against Ravenwood. I wanted to talk to Coach Sneed about that. Wanted to ask him about Kenny Minchie's availability. What's his status? He's been out for the past couple of weeks with a shoulder injury. So we get into a lot. So let's roll this, Justin. Brain Sneed, head coach of Pope Prep football. We've got Pope Prep head coach Brain Sneed with us today, joining us. First off, thanks so much for doing this for us. I know you're a busy man, so we appreciate you hopping in. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, man. This has been a good season so far, and excited to talk with you a little bit more.
Absolutely excited to get you back on. We actually wanted to get you on a couple weeks ago, but I had to postpone. So I've been trying to get you back in. So I really appreciate you jumping with us. But you're 6-2, like you said, through 8 games. You got a big one this Friday. What's the atmosphere like around your program right now?
We're excited about where we are. You look at our season so far, and we've had a lot of adversity, just with injuries and with things going on with that. And our guys are starting to figure out kind of how to navigate that. We talk about that a lot in our program, how to handle adversity, how to choose a good response to whatever event you're presented with. And that's shown up in games, showed up in the BGA game. It showed up this past week with Knox Catholic. We do have some confidence. You look at our 2 losses, they're against 2 of the best teams in the state, in my opinion, combined, I think 15-1. So we have some confidence. Hopefully we get healthy, continue to get healthy as we progress and start playing our best football as we get towards the playoffs.
Speaking of that big win over Knox Catholic, quarterback play by Chet Lax was maybe the best it had been all season under center for him. Run game was there. Just talk to us a little bit about that win and about what you learned about your football team after 60 minutes.
Well, that was huge. It was huge for Chet, gaining confidence. And he hadn't practiced quarterback in a long time. So he's played in a couple scrimmages, 2 scrimmages over the last 2 years out of necessity, but really hadn't practiced the position. And so, him being taking all the reps throughout the last few weeks, he's continuing to get better. So going out there and kind of having a game that kind of backs up all the work he's put in over the last few weeks was huge for his confidence, for the team's confidence. And then you had guys step up. In games like that, you got to have guys step up and make plays. Josh Mailander made some huge plays on offense and defense. Ansley Ware was big on both sides of the ball. And so when you have a team that can kind of come together and not rely on just looking at one person to make a play, then that's huge. Elijah Robb was big as well. So and you could go down the list of guys that stepped up in that game, and that secured a home playoff game for us, which is big. We don't have to travel to the West to go play in that first round. So we're going to, be excited about that home field advantage in the first round.
You mentioned all those athletes, and you're right. You could kind of go down the list, but I do want to stick with Chet for a minute. He's obviously a standout baseball player for the Knights team as well. I guess, how easy of a decision was it to slot him in, just being the athlete that he is?
Yeah, well, good thing about Chet is, he's a smart football player.
Yeah.
He's moved around in several different positions. We threw him in at the in the middle of the game against BGA, and he was able to efficiently run an offense.
Yeah.
Right? For a guy who hasn't taken a snap at quarterback since the second scrimmage of the season.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can do that. The other thing I love about him, and I think our team loves about him, I mean, he's calm as they can be. When the moment's big or we're having a lot of success, or maybe we're struggling a little bit, like he's the same even kill guy. He's going out there, and I think that just gives the rest of the team confidence that he's not on a roller coaster throughout the game. So again, he's continuing to improve. He's committed to play baseball at Wright State. He's our stud pitcher on the baseball team for us, and he's a guy who knows big moments. I mean, when you're on the mound like a pitcher, I mean, you're going to have those big moments where everyone's looking at you, and when you're at quarterback, you're going to have those big moments where everyone's looking at you. So he's used to that kind of pressure. He's used to being the guy in that moment. So now, can we continue to get him to improve, week to week, day to day?
A quarterback's best friend is not only a good wide receiver, but it's a good running back. And you guys have a really good one in the backfield in Elijah Robb. I'm curious, just how much does he help you take that pressure off of a defense, whether, because they obviously, if they want to stack the box, you can obviously go to the top, but they can't stack the box because, you've got weapons on the outside. I guess how much does he help your offense?
Huge. I mean, just like you said, it's pick your poison. If you want to add numbers to the box, we got, Colin Cook and Maylander out there. And if you want to kind of spread out or double one of those guys, and we got a guy that's run the ball pretty hard. Elijah he's tough. He's a tough kid. He's battled through some of his own injuries throughout the season, and he runs the ball hard, and he's really good about finding that crease and going and making a guy miss. And even though he might not have the 70, 80-yard runs, he picks up first downs and he keeps the thing going, and he just runs the ball hard, and he brings that mentality to the rest of the team of being physical, playing hard, and giving everything you got.
I certainly don't want to leave anybody out, but I'm going to ask about one more player. You mentioned him earlier, Josh Mailander. We've talked about him before, but his just continued growth in this program. He caught another 4 passes last week, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns. He gets the go-ahead pick 6, which was maybe his second or third of the year.
I think it was the 4th, actually.
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
His knack for the football, is that something that can be taught, or is that just God-given at this point?
It's a little both. I would say probably more natural talent than anything, but I mean, you do have to have a general knowledge of where you're supposed to be. And I mean, he's, like you said, it's 1 year in the program. He's picked up both sides of the ball where he needs to be on any given play, but a lot of it is natural talent that can't be coached, and just you got to have a mentality that anytime the ball's available in the air, like, I'm going to go get it, and he has that. And then the talent to pull away and outrun some guys once he has it in his hands is been great to see, and has been huge momentum shifting plays for us the last few weeks.
Absolutely. Have a chance to honor your seniors this week against Ravenwood. You've obviously been around them through the entire 4 years, 3 years as DC, now their head coach. Can you just talk to us about what this class means to you? And I guess how much this senior class helped transition into the next phase of Pope Prep football?
Yeah, so we have 21 seniors. I mean, honestly, top to bottom, I think it's probably our most talented senior class that we've had. And we mentioned a lot of them already, but we got guys in there who maybe don't get recognized as much, that really have poured their heart and soul into the team, and provided playing time in different situations. Guys that have stepped up when other players have been injured, or guys that have been consistent on special teams, like Zach Montgomery, Turner Curley, and Braden Rayborn has stepped up. You got a lot of guys. Braden Jones is going to need to step up this week. That in that class that we always talk about, the top 7 or 8 guys in that senior class. But having 21 seniors has been huge for us, just as far as the leadership goes, and how we want to run a program. They've kind of led the way there as far as where this program is going and what we want to accomplish. So it's going to be a fun night to celebrate them. We have kind of a countdown in our locker room as far as how many days are left for those guys. And, I hope the rest of the team kind of steps up and and pours all out for them so that they can leave the last regular season game on the turf with a victory. So but yeah, they've been huge, and I'm excited to see how they play this Friday, but also moving into another region game and into the playoffs.
For sure. Speaking of that game against Ravenwood, let's talk a little bit about the Raptors. They're 5-3 on the season. I'm not sure if Chris Parson will play. I don't know the status of him. I know he's missed several weeks. I don't know his status, but what does the film tell you about Ravenwood?
I mean, they're a good football team. They're well coached. They play hard. The games that we have some games with Parson in and with them not in, and they do things differently when he's not in the game, just as we've had to do things differently without Minchie in. And but they're a really good 6A program that's going to come in ready to play and ready to battle, and we got to be prepared for that. I think they kind of put it on us last year. We jumped out, thought we had things rolling, and then they kind of stormed back and took control of the rest of the game. So, this is a team that's not going to give up no matter what the situation is, and we got to be prepared to play, a full 48 minutes.
I got to ask you, Coach, what's the status of Kenny? Will he play again this season?
Yeah, we're expecting him to play this season. Like I've told you, it's kind of week to week. We're going to see where he is at the end of the week. I think he's getting close, but we'll see how he feels towards the end of the week. But yeah, the plan is that once he feels 100% and ready to get back out there, we're going to get him back out there.
The TSSAA announced yesterday new classifications. I think a lot of schools probably already had an idea of what was going on, but they officially put it out yesterday. Your football program officially falls from the 3A threshold down to AA. I guess my first question should be, just to cover my bases here and not assume, are you guys going to stay in AA, or will you try to play up to 3A?
Well, we're still that's something that we're talking with administration. We added a middle school program last year, 6 through 8. That's kind of changed the dynamic of our high school. And so honestly, when those numbers came back, it kind of took us by surprise a little bit. And so, we still have a couple weeks to make that decision. We don't want to rush it. We want to make sure that we're looking at all avenues here. We have an interim head of school right now, Cameron Phillips, and we're looking at bringing in a new president here in the spring. So there's a lot of stuff that we need to kind of look through and examine and just make sure we're making the right decision for not only our football team and program, but the school as a whole.
Could you maybe give some cliff notes on maybe the pros and cons of both AA and 3A?
I don't know what really I don't know if I can give you a good list of it. I mean, football is football at the end of the day. I would say one of the pros of being in AA would be that the region that they have right now is all in Middle Tennessee. Mm-hmm. We have to travel at least once a year, sometimes twice a year to the east part of the state, or when we were in the West region out to Memphis. So that's a big pro for being in AA. A pro for being in AAA is you're playing among the best teams in the state every week in and week out. And so there are pros and cons to both of them. And those are all things that we're going to try to consider before that deadline here in the next couple of weeks to figure out what we need to do.
Very good. Yeah, I put out a story yesterday for Sumner County, and I just assumed, and then I had conversations with coworkers, and they're all just like, let's just, double check here, make sure everybody, because there was a lot of shift in the county, as you saw in a lot of sports. So, but anyways, we really appreciate you jumping on with us. I know you're a busy man. We're going to let you go. Thank you so much for talking about your program. Best of luck on Friday night, and can't wait to see how it shakes out, man.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Yep, you bet. That was Polk Prep head coach Brain Sneed joining us today to talk about all the things going on in his program. One of the most notable things, though, Kenny Minchie, scheduled to play at some point this season. When he's 100% ready to go, he will be back out there. I think that's the big takeaway from that interview. We're going to jump to a quick break, but when we come back, we've got a little surprise for you, so don't go anywhere.
So, I got a DUI. Mom, Dad.
Why didn't you just call someone for a ride?
I wasn't thinking ahead. I didn't think I was gonna get caught. Yeah, my best friend Tim.
Still coming to my bachelor party next month?
This DUI cost me 10 grand. So, no. Yeah, you, in the back.
Did you know I almost died when you hit me?
I didn't think this would affect so many people.
Think it was worth it?
No more questions.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
I have sang Dixieland Delight maybe 10,000 times since Saturday, and I don't think that's hyperbole. I always knew it was a great song, but I just think now it just has this different feel to it, and I love it, and I can't stop singing it. So obviously that's Alabama's, go-to song, and, love that they sing about the great state of Tennessee, and for us to kind of take that back on Saturday night, I think was good for everyone involved. But we've got a few minutes before we let you go, so I'm going to just do quick hitters here and kind of run through this. But I do want to give him his due, and we are doing our Player of the Week this week, looking at Pope Prep senior Josh Maylander. We talked about him with Coach Sneed. He's just kind of an animal. He's everywhere. From California, led California in his respective classification as a receiver before moving here and now doing it here in Tennessee. He caught 4 passes for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns in their thrilling win over Knox Catholic last week. He also had 2 tackles on defense and 1 pick six for 47 yards for the go-ahead score late in the fourth quarter. The photos you are seeing now are from a 7-on-7 earlier this summer. No game photos from that win over Knox Catholic, but nevertheless, shout out to Josh Maylander for being our Player of the Week this week. He was a stud for the Knights, and he kind of has been that way all season long. So excited to see just how the rest of the year shakes out for that Pope Prep offense as well as Josh Maylander. Moving on to our last item of note before we kind of close this thing out, reclassification story. Currently on MainStreetPreps.com. I mentioned it with Coach Sneed. For the most part, schools had an idea of where they were going based on the numbers, but it was official yesterday for Sumner County. I kind of just did a quick hitter run down the list, but I tell you what, here's what sticks out for me. Football gets a major shakeup. Pope Prep drops from 3A to 2A if they want to. Hendersonville and Beach, if they want to, drop from 6A to 5A. Gallatin, the only 5A team, the only 6A team in the county. Station Camp High School has a golden opportunity ahead of themselves. I remember a couple of years ago when Portland Volleyball dropped down to Class AA, them kind of running through everybody. They kind of have the same path ahead, dropping down to AA in soccer. They dropped to 4A in football. So Station Camp should enjoy this reclassification next for the next couple of years. Liberty Creek with 582 students comes in 3A in football, 2A in basketball, baseball, softball, and volleyball. Class A in soccer, track and field, cross country, golf, and tennis. So again, a lot to look forward to on MainStreetPreps.com. I encourage you to check it out. There's more takeaways that we can look at, like Gallatin football. Depending on the region that they're in, they're going to have to choose which rivalries are more important. Hendersonville, Beach, Station Camp. If they're not with Wilson County, where does Mount Juliet, where does Lebanon fall? A lot of questions. And we're going to get into that as we move forward in the season. But for today, I'm going to close it out with the shot there on that basket. Let's see if I can make it. I mean, that is nothing but nylon. I will see you next week.